Well, I'm either muscular or I'm really kind of fat. I'm gonna do this one in the nude because I figured, well, I know you can't see me and I'm not going to pose myself like privately beyond where I'm at right there, but I just thought I'd get people's attention if I did this one naked. And of course, I'm kidding. I'm joking. That is the first joke that I wanted to pass off. Polygamy report. Yes, I have a tattoo. My grandma told me that you don't want to get a bunch of tattoos. That's basically what she told me. She said, it's alright, you got that one, but she said you don't want to get a whole bunch of them and just kind of, she nicely warned me. So, and it's of a jaguar. I love jaguars. I live in Jacksonville, Jaguar area, territory. But it was because I have a love for it. Just without my shirt, I'll show you. I'm a leopard. See that? I got severely burned by the sun. So I'm a leopard. Anyhow, that wasn't a gross mutation. Um, I don't know exactly how that came about, except I went and put myself out because my sister was trying to tan and stuff, and she's had skin cancer several times. But anyways, um, she was suntanning, so I was young. I was probably about 7. I thought I needed to go get a sunburn, suntan. That was how you did it. Was getting burned first, and then having the tan. But it severely burnt me. My skin swelled off of my body like a regular uh, fire. I was severely burned. So my skin's leopard. So I I guess I kind of mutated a little bit there, but it wasn't indifference from what I was saying, and that's, I'm not trying to say that we shouldn't tolerate people because I hate to sound the way that I am, but I'm more stronger in the mind where I'm not going to, I don't think, be abusive to people. I really mind my own business, and if you ever researched my life, you would see that I mainly spent most of my time minding my own business, going to school, and not getting caught up with any of that, but staying on track with the curriculum and getting an education and keeping my mind focused on that when other issues would come up about transgender people or whatever. Uh, they just because of the way anybody else is taught, you're gonna have to, like I said, it's a very complicated um, situation that can really, it's gonna blow people away if you just come out and say that and they're not prepared for it. But also, if the people are ready to respond to that or meet that and actually want to punch transgender other people out, I I won't be there doing that because that's not what I think is even right. I'm not. I'm just saying what I believe. I believe that people, if they do change their sex, they are being somebody else that they're really not. And for whatever reason in this life, uh, like this Kate person, Cat or whatever, um, Jenner, wasn't satisfied with being a man. I'm telling you, I've been a man my whole life myself, and I don't know why. It's a done deal. You can't. The person can't go back now, but I don't know what is wrong with being a man. I love being a man. I have no problem. It would not ever in a million years ever want to change being a man or what a man is supposed to function like and be like and act just like a straight up man, human being, and not something else. I want to be Christopher, the way people know me whenever they see me on the street and they greet me. They don't meet me with something odd other than real honesty, deep, true honesty. And honestly, I don't bring religion into it at all, usually, you know? So people, don't really have a right to really make accusation and accuse me of nothing when I've basically been hanging out with all of them. So I know pagans' natures from my own experience hanging out with people from a different culture than Christianity, but still I went through all that and believe in my faith, and I don't know that I can say I can believe it more and more. But I've always had a firm grip and belief in the stuff, in what Christ said, and took it very seriously. I might not have always professed Christianity, like I said, but I'm not going to deny it. And whenever somebody says something about something Jesus actually said, and I go back and see it was true or not, and it was true, then I take it very seriously. So that's my idea of being humane. It's being true to yourself and being who you are meant to be. I love myself. I love who I am. And I'm not going to get greedy. And I'm not going to have to go out and shoot somebody or, have a bad day or rip nobody off. But always be honest. I can always be honest to myself and with other people. And be true to myself and be glad for who I am. With the kind of attitude that I have for myself, I could have been anyone if I would have carried that attitude to being anyone, any other human being. I could have been positive and happy for who I am. It doesn't matter. I'm kind of sick, so I have to basically doctor my nose a little bit. It maybe brought about from the pollen and the weather and stuff because it's borderline where I'm not sick, but it's like allergy sick or something like that. Still get the stuffy head like a cold, but I've had it for a couple of days too now. But I don't believe in like practicing my own medicine or like voodoo. Honestly, I'm a Christian thinking person, so also as conservative, what I think I've discovered as being a conservative type of person, I tend to not appreciate um, hospitals and don't entrust in hospitals very much. And when I go there, I know that it's a serious reason. So I'm always like anybody else would be going in there with caution and just kind of worrying about that and other people. I can worry more about the harm and effects from other humans than I ever would by God. And I know that there's a devil and he can represent many things and he can attack you in many different ways. But still, I don't ever underestimate the will of men, whether it be good or bad, and their virtues of what kind of outcome people are trying to achieve and what people are kind of pushing for, one way or another. So I wanted to say the Constitution. So now, other people's rights. So I heard that some liberals are saying, government officials are saying now that some churches cannot continue saying that they don't believe in gay marriage and that is a Christian thing. It's a pagan thing. It's a sacrilegious thing to even think that way. And then what you did, you just went beyond that and now you're going to cause my own country a problem from forcing that. Whenever we gave you an alternative beforehand, we said you have to get this somehow, some other way that you can basically recognize a union of two people, but don't bring marriage into it. The way that you guys are saying it's sacrilegious because it's actually a Christian thing, and now it does bear on the fact that
Good afternoon, Hunter.
that you're telling people now. Sorry about that. You're telling people now in churches in certain states now they're saying that you can't profess that religion from a religious standpoint that being gay is wrong or inappropriate. So now, through the Constitution, now I'm dragging the Constitution in on this, and I'm pointing out that you can't force somebody else's what you think is all made up, what you ruled on is helping somebody out with their constitutional right. Now I told you it's the truth that you're abusing other people's rights and opinions. So the Constitution gets drug into this over and over again. And depending on how much money whatever side has, it doesn't depend on the outcome necessarily. But what it matters is, say if some person's broke or they don't have some legal background, somebody with that can legally fight for them and do a good job. If they're lacking funds, then they can be attacked, right? Whether they're right or wrong. Okay, they could be the most righteous, right on the money. You've never heard somebody profess so much righteousness and so much right, left and right. He was just right. Whatever he said, left and right, it was just right, right, right. Oh my gosh, yes. But he has lack of funds, so he could be fought legally by somebody else who's evil or whatever you'd say is after them because they have money. So in that sense, money does definitely have a lot to bear on things. And I see a lot of countersuits with these liberals in the way that they think, because that right there should ought to also get them departed from the government some way. Usually people would tend to want to negotiate this, and if they negotiate this all the way through and their politicians have their heads up their butt and are one way, then they're going to make it hard in that process. So then they want to take it out on the elected officials through voting. So that's what makes voting so important, right? So you have to have a way where you can maintain, if something is overly way too abusive and silly, by even the whatever Supreme Justice Court system in the universe, whatever, you have to have a way to be able to contradict that if they get too off the beaten track with it. And then it's gonna come down to abusing other people's opinions. The majority of the people is what you say these politicians right now, what they're doing is they're pushing against the majority of everybody else. And I truly they can argue that the majority isn't there all they want, but it truly is. And you can take up any poll and you'll see that. And anyways, I see how they get, if they were able to have that, they're abusing people's own rights to be like, what, you're not that way. And I just explained to you how you're abusing religion. God never once, ever one time, ever said that homosexuality was okay and that he was fine with it and that there wasn't actually consequences for doing that. So it's not my deal, and especially not now. Besides whatever they drag me into, whatever happens to my country, they get attacked by some place, and now terrorists come in and they have no mercy. And our whole society is weak whenever it used to be the strongest one in the world, and they want to argue that we were sinful going all around the world, but yet we were the only police really around the world that would kick true strangers around, right? And dust them off and send them on their way and not let them be abusive in so many instances. So, but yet here we are with a weakening of society, the new Babylon, right? So we're in the new Babylon. It's basically that's what it is. Blue, are you all right? What's wrong with you? Are you okay? My dog was choking up. I just wanted to ask her if she was all right. So my message to the natives and the pilgrims. The natives, I want to know what their take of polygamy was. Did they have several wives in Native American culture? I have, um, I have my dad's mother was a full-blooded Cherokee Indian and was buried on a reservation that I have no idea. I've asked questions all over the place, and our family has been so scattered because of the Dust Bowl and other things like that. I couldn't get no straight answers, and my grandfather died when I was 3 years old. When I was 3 years old, I remember just one thing of him giving me a pack of gum, and that's it. That's all I remember. He was a really nice guy to me. So his mom was kind of ornery. She was a Republican. She was a staunch Republican, and a lot of the other people in my family were were strict Democrats. But not my native full-blooded Cherokee grandmother, great grandmother, ancestor. She was a staunch Republican. She'd punch you in your face over it. She was mean. She didn't take no crap from nobody. Those people went through such turmoils and such hardships. They just wouldn't. You mouth off to them, they wouldn't cut you any slack, and they lived out in the desert, where good luck to find a cop or somebody to stop them from coming up and knocking your teeth out of your mouth. Serious. So, anyways, message to the natives. Did you guys have, because I believe that you can, if you are a respectable Christian, in the way I believe, okay, and you pay all your tithes and you do everything that God tells you to do, that you can have more than one wife as long as it's not, they don't have a sexual relationship, right? And they don't do anything morbid or outside the sense of being religious, and they're religious, and you don't take upon them to abuse them, these wives anyway, by like saying, "Oh, I get this wife so she can do the dishes now," or something like that. You get a wife because you can take on a certain responsibility to be able to make sure that you can take care of her. So I would definitely start there first, unless I'm not saying that that's right to consider the woman to have to you know fetch the money, right, or have anything. A man needs to suck it up if you want a wife, and you should go and get one, right? Um, but you need to consider putting yourself in a position where you can be responsible enough to maintain a good relationship with a woman and then marry her. But if you have multiple wives, and this is where I was talking about, it is not harder for a rich man to get to heaven than it is for a camel to strum through the needle. It's not. If you give you 10%, and that's what God says to give. And now, since He sent His Son to die for our sins, so now that's the way we do it now. So we have a personal relationship with Christ, and through God, our sins are forgiven. Um, you do all that, you're not going to go to hell if you believe in Christ. So Christ shut down somebody, and in my opinion, I think that what he was talking about was the guy becoming a true follower in Him. And if you were a true follower in Him, let's say the tribulation is upon us, but we're in the thick of it. You would have to, according to what he was saying there too, before he died, what he said to his disciples is you would have to put down basically everything that you own, and you'll have to take off in the tribulation during those times. And every Christian will just know, because we know all these other things that God's telling us. We don't, we're not sacrilege, because we do come to Christ and we pray to Him every day and every night before we go to bed too, especially. So we're safe, but we're not doing, I heard somebody say this, we're not doing all the things that, prophets do in order to be told things, but God is going to reveal that to all of His elect at that point. So I just want to know how, sorry for jumping around, but this has everything to do with what I believe and what I think, especially up to now, and what I'm putting into this book of Christopher that I'm compiling together with all these different videos, with all these different things. It just, because usually when I think of Native Americans, I think of a man and a woman, and they'll have children. It doesn't talk very much except for the mothers tending to the children and taking care of them. And however, Native Americans culture, takes care of their people and ensures that they keep blessing the earth with people, right? How the ritual goes down, it's a man and a woman, they make a baby, and they are ensuring the planet continues. So we have to ensure the planet's safety and survival. Other people are getting out of hand. So when I think of them, I think that you take a woman, not 5 women. So that's why a lot of Christians would think that it's wrong, because how many men are going to be able to handle one wife as it is and not have to worry about divorce or separation and other things that go into that, okay, as it is, and then you want to remarry again. Yeah, see, so I could see how a man can get remarried from having a marriage before, but it kind of goes into where other Christians can kind of patronize them, because, like I said again, you couldn't take care of the first wife that you had. So why are you moving on to trying to get a second one, or 5 or more? Unless you can tell me and show us that you put a lot into this other person, into making sure that the relationship lasts. I truly believe polygamy is not a sin, unless I come up to a point and I express everybody's please do this research on your own too, because I know with the other couple of things that I'm researching today, I'm going to also research polygamy in the Bible and what I think, because like King Solomon and other people had several wives, had more wives than you can ever have. What he was doing was he was taking these wives, and then what they would do is they would have I don't think that they had really needed more than just the one husband, but he had thousands of wives. What they were trying to do, and her too, was have them each raise one child, probably from the king, and instead of most of the people, replenishing the earth with people who couldn't even maybe handle one wife as it was, or they could take care of a family. They had the wealthiest person try and basically fill the earth with you say they're all at that point royalty. They're all royalty. So they all eventually come around where everybody gets mixed with everybody else's blood and DNA, and it comes down to you would really have to breed the royalty out of a lot of people, because I believe that if people are rich or smart and they are show me that they're really intelligent, then I would say that they have the right, especially them, if they can handle the other wives, they can have more than one wife. But people really need to be thinking more about the wives in particular. Like me in particular, if I had a wife, I would hope, or I would put some into females' attention. What I'm trying to put off and say is I need her to be smart, be into hunting, so be kind of like a country person, or somebody who can handle themselves out in the bush, or themselves in person. So I'm looking for those key components, my own particular self, and she can't think that gay gay marriage is okay with God, and she has to be religious. And those are just two variables that I would express, and I wouldn't be able to marry somebody at this point if they thought otherwise or were otherwise, because I think that it's too far away from what the Bible was saying. The Bible wasn't saying that you couldn't marry into other races. Moses married a black woman. So, for crying out loud, what it means is you cannot marry somebody outside of the way that you think. So, if I met a black woman in person and she blew my mind and she said all of these things, and then I was like, "Ooh," I'm like, "Whoa, that's wifey right there, right?" Not trying to be absurd or be rude about it. I just thought, hey, I like her or whatever. I would give her real consideration. I would straighten up right away, and I would try not to act a fool. And it doesn't matter if she was black or white or whoever, but if I was talking to a person like that, I will also look into the vibes, try to feel the vibes, and see if there's chemistry, and her intentions likewise. Otherwise, trying to be overly responsible, maybe, but I think that I'm going to be here for eternity. for a reason, because I believe truly not just in Jesus Christ, but to take care of the planet and to put everything into refined context to not overcrowd it. I guess they give communists some credence in that area, but I'm not a communist. I believe in having a big, huge family if you can raise them wise and make them great pilgrims. So, Puritans, like a lot, like the Mennonites, I would say, try to keep it. Also, too, those are the people. I have a message to natives and pilgrims, and the reason why is because I believe that the I believe that the I'm gonna put this title, other title. Mm-hmm. See, what's it? And natives. What it is it's a message to the pilgrims and the natives. I'm sorry, but it's alright. I got this on it's a private upload right now. I didn't want people coming on here and distracting me and kicking me off of once I'm getting going. I hope I stay right on and keep going. So if you can take care, if you're wealthy and you pay all of your contributions, your 10% and everything to the church, you can have more than one wife. If you're prepared to take on each one of those wives, has to be taken care of, and the seed that you plant there has to be raised up and be a competitor, but also at the same time not be not be a bad person. That's what the majority of people are looking for, is you not to be a bad person. So that's my message to the natives and the pilgrims. Um, what you're doing is great. Now I see more focus in the other missionaries and other people, what they are doing to fend for themselves, be able to go and create their own society, away from society if they needed to, and do. So the Puritans and the Quakers and people like that, this is a message to you also. It's the reason that they're doing all of that is because there's going to be a time when they're going to put the thought into our minds that we're going to have to gather together, okay? Um, we'll all know that specific time, while the rest of the people will be confused. They're going to be in confusion. So we need everybody to be a strategist. So anybody in the whole elect can take charge. And each one's jobs, they could do each other's jobs too, but how they function, they have specialties that when it comes to nature and the habitat, forming your own society like that, they can blend in with nature and camouflage themselves and be gone with the rest of the world, because we're all going to be here when real crap hits the fan, and we have to be able to defend ourselves to a point where we can maintain and survive. And I don't know that it's going to come down to being that much staged for an offense as much of a defense if we're talking about the world being against us and basically pushing us out in a way. They're going to want to, what the Bible says is they're going to chop people's heads off for not taking the mark of the beast. So, um, I just strongly believe that the rapture happens at the end of the tribulation. I don't believe that the Bible ever says anywhere that the rapture happens anywhere during the tribulation or before the tribulations, like a lot of Christians argue. It's at the very end of the tribulation. Satan comes a second time. I mean, Christ comes a second time, not a third time. If you put it in that sense, then yeah, it would. Because Satan, like, I apologize there, but we're all human. Like I said, we make mistakes, what we say and stuff. But I'm gonna point this out. Satan comes back, and he comes back like breaking the fish and multiplying the food and feeding the masses, and he does all this supposedly for a year. There's a real calming and togetherness, and it's all a stage and a front. And then there'll be a very fascist like type of Nazi, even if you want to put it in that content, what Revelation says that he'll do. The devil is or the Antichrist, right? I believe is a test tube, like maybe, or somebody who's one of these cloned human beings. It's a soulless human being. The devil takes this soulless human being's form, the matter of it, and then he bumps the Pope out of the way and then sits on the head of the Catholic Church, maybe, and takes realm there and that. And then he'll heal people. Like he can, like, he'll bring a mass amount of people into the church. And I don't know if he does this with demons or how he does this, but he'll fool people greatly. So obviously he'll bring everybody into the church who's sick, and he'll heal them all. He'll just knock out everything, everybody's ailment and sickness out. So all I had to say left, I said a lot already, so I don't want to be a distraction myself. I'm just looking at if the forefathers. I'm looking up also if the forefathers put in what they what about the "In God We Trust" on everything, because it said that Eisenhower actually put that in there. And I'm saying now, fine, take it out, whatever, quit causing all the turbulence and whatever. And us Christians need to be stronger than that, need to be strong enough to where our will is where it's at firmly. And whatever, like these Mennonites and these other strong Baptist type of people and real true religious pilgrims, Puritans and Quakers, stay firm and staunchly religious. You need to be able to be a little bit stronger willed than that. We all do. Because the devil's going to test us however he can. So, the fallen. We believe that the fallen angels went around the world, and they created, maybe they created some of the structures in existence, and then brought different people in, like pilgrims came to America from Europe. Maybe the devil somehow brought them in, brought their flying UFOs way back in ancient times, and would bring these people into these already built cities, maybe, and said, and offered them a city if they, swore to a oath or something to them, and then they told them, beginning the lie of what it is, because I don't believe they're ever going to find another planet. But I do believe that maybe there will be some extraterrestrials or something phenomenal and weird, strange, when the Antichrist, like I just described too, will come. That there will be different things revealed, like the demon army and stuff. It's not a human army. It's a demonic army, so they're not gonna be in our flesh. If they come, they'll be in a clone, like the devil is. So 7 years of reign, you can kill them, maybe destroy them, send them to hell when they die. Like I said, when Jesus put um, other uh, demons, they did massive um, a massive exorcism when he was here, and he took took the demons and cast them into pigs, and then made the pigs go off a cliff into the ocean, and they died. And then the demons died. Instead of the demons being able to go out and get into another body, so where you have exorcisms where you take a demon out of a person, it'll go back to the person. So all I'm saying is, um, they're going to be in one of these clones, and they only have to have 7 years. The tribulation lasts only a period of time like that, under a decade, to where, and it's even less than that. They say clones usually die, the cells and everything give way, and then it will die. A cloned person in like 3 years or something. They give them 3 or 4 years even. That's 3.5 years into the tribulation, right after the slaying of the prophets. We'll know all this stuff and not be and see the mass confusion even more and more once these gentlemen come and profess to all languages too. Two guys come back and they profess it, and all the languages in the world hear it. That's crazy. That is crazy. How are they broadcast and everybody hear them? Insane. It's insane. So, but they're killed, and then the devil only needs his army, this demonic army, to rise up all at once. They're clones or something like that. Obviously, the demons take in their body and then can shape the way that they want to shape the clone, maybe even. So they'll shape shift, like people were talking about, into their demon selves, but they'll rise up 200 million, right? It's a lot, 200 million. So the natives and the pilgrims have to get their heads together, okay, with all of us have to figure this thing out, and we have to wisely choose who's going to be allowed to have more than one wife, and everybody's going to have a wife, and if you can't handle the wife, you're going to have to be punished. There's going to have to be true punishments handed down to either one. If the female is causing a problem, she'll have to be dealt with. And if a man is being abusive or doing some out of line to his wife, like I said, just bringing wives in to use them to do different women chores, everybody will have their specialty. So you're looking at love and unity and honest relationship like it's supposed to be. So when it's counseling, I believe that it's going to come down to also true punishments for either the man or the woman if they don't behave themselves. In our society, we're supposed to be godly. But like anybody else would say, if people have the notion, the mindset to have sex, they need to find the right mate for themselves that think the same way they do. When it comes down to these fundamental things that I said, it's not going to work out. Okay, and if you end up believing it the same way together, you're going to have to be living with that person, be able to both change your mind at the same time because you're one mind. That's real unity. A man and a woman. Not a man doubling up with another man and having or a woman doubling up with another woman. That's not true unity. So, the fallen angels went around and they caused a lot of confusions and did a lot of damage to people's mind, thinking that there's somebody, but for some reason they haven't been back here for 2,000 years. because that's how far away they live, even though they can go through all these various wormholes and just be here instantly if they really wanted to be. But it's all crazy that they can't just come and talk to us because it's all strange. It's all strange. So that's the truth about the fallen, our perspective and our opinion. So imagine you were all these people that these aliens, these demons, or whatever anybody wants to call them. I call them demons. They're fallen angels from heaven. God cast them out of heaven, in what way we believe. So imagine you were these different people all around the world once the world got scattered up from the Pangea. We're going to talk about that. This is the last thing. You were those people and you were confronted by these extraterrestrials and these weird guys that look like Predator or something come out, you know, and you're going to be like, and it has superior strength over you. There's no way you could fight it. Unless you truly had known Jesus and been able to use other angels that God give us, being able in order to fight demon spirits, where you will be totally rendered to be defenseless. There's no way, and it's weird, but I didn't want to sound too racist, but whatever. Here I go. When all these cultures had Caucasian or like white, lighter skinned people, I'm not calling white people white anymore. I'm calling them sun color. I'm sun color, right? Like Moses. Moses was sun color because he was enlightened, and he was blessed by God. So I want to be more enlightened and more blessed by God. And if that turns me lighter color, so be it. But I'm just saying that when these people came on various vessels, and they were just people, they were just Europeaners, there was nothing really special about them, like I was saying, taken out of context. They were just a Spanish conquistador or whatever. They would think that they were the aliens coming back or whatever. For some reason, pale people were thought about in a certain way. So that gave people like Christopher Columbus and other people, where they could basically run the show anywhere they went, because people kind of put them on altars all of a sudden, thinking that they were something that they were not. So anyhow, the Pangea Ultima I heard the other day. The Pangea Ultima does not happen. If you look at the way that I'll pull it out here. Again, this model that I have of the Pangea. Can you see that? Okay. The Pangea altogether, I showed everybody before how all of the landmass, see that? It all connected. It all connects together, right? Every bit of it. So what the planet is going to do, the structure of the Earth is going to reform itself, and the continents are going to get bigger, like elastic kind of, they're band, and they're going to expand out. It's not going to sail away and then come back together. That's a really, really wild thought, and I don't even think I like Pangea ultimate thought or whatever. However they put that at all. It's a big lie. It is not the truth. That is not what is going to happen. Most of the oceans are going to subside again, and we'll have lakes and other various things like that, and we'll have controllable oceans, and the earth is going to be a paradise again. Blue water through everywhere, where you can see everything. Everything takes care of itself, and I don't believe that there's going to be anything existing that's going to be able to kill anybody, because or people will be have the ability where they'll be changed and different. Maybe it was how God wanted human beings to be, like gods, to where they really truly control the animals. So there's no animal that will contest human beings at all, in the seas or anywhere. So, anyways, what happens is it comes back together, and we're not calling it Pangea anything. We're calling it Earth Perfecto. Earth Perfecto, right? And whatever else, I might come up with something else to add to that, but the Earth's going to reform itself and reshape itself, and a lot of the planet is going to burn off, and it's going to, it sounds like almost like the atmosphere is going to change, and it'll deplete completely. Then that will be what's going to bring in the warming temperatures to burn everything off, maybe. But I also believe that there's a fireball coming at it, and that they'll have a second moon once it's all over, and then people come back. Christ puts them back here. He takes the dead first, and then the people who make it last through will go second with him in the clouds. And then when the earth is, the ball of fire comes and the atmosphere is opened up and it strikes it, whenever it comes back together, and the people are able to come back right away, because it'll cool down and the atmosphere will come back renewed. It'll be on its way to becoming perfect. It won't be perfect at that point. I believe it'll take 1,000 years of peace, that man will be here doing all that stuff and being powerful like a god, like I said, to be able to maintain and help put everything back together and restructure the planet. So it's more like Earth Perfecto than it is Pangea Ultima, like they say billions of years down the road. I'm not. I'll give the guy, I guess, a little bit of credit for the Pangea theory, but it's still a theory, and it's becoming a problem, and now it's kind of throwing people off and giving them more credence to evolution, science, and whatever else they want to say. But that's not the way it is. But I gotta go, because I'm finished with my lecture and what I had to say. I appreciate it. Anybody watch, thanks.